Okay, guys, I'm going to show you this is the servo ventilator. I'm going to show you the back where the connections are. There's a few connections. One is obviously the power cord. And the power cord, you're always going to connect the power cord to the red outlet. And in the hospitals, they have designated red outlets. That's emergency outlets in case power goes out. And the backup generator kicks in. Ventilators or life support devices will be connected to that, and they will continue to operate as long as necessary. Then you'll have the pneumatic portion of it. You have your oxygen, your air. Those will be connected to the wall appropriately. This is your quick connects. Some might have a DISS connector, diameter index safety system type connectors. Okay. And I'm going to turn the ventilator on the other side of the ventilator, and there's two connections on there. Let me get a little closer with this. So if you look at it, there's two connections, one here, and it says inspiratory. That's actually to the patient. So we're going to connect the inspiratory limb to that, and usually we have the bacteria filter here. This one here on this side is expiratory. It's going to go from the Y to the ventilator, the exhalation port, okay? Let's see if we can. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the ventilator circuit. Let me grab the bacteria filter. I have the bacteria filter here. This is going to fit here, inspiratory. Okay, so we know this is inspiratory side. I'm going to get the circuit. Okay. So this is the inspiratory side. This is where we would connect the temperature probe if we were using external heater. This is going to connect to that connection there. The other end is the expiratory limb. This is coming from the patient to the ventilator. The exhalation port is going to measure volume coming back from the patient. And here is the circuit. I'm going to turn this around against, I mentioned before that some ventilator arms have a place where you can hold the tubing, just like that. And then what we'll do is I'm going to turn this ventilator around. Let's see if we can let's go up a little bit. After you connect the ventilator, we're going to power on the ventilator. This one here, the servo, when you're plugged into the power, it'll indicate here that it's connected to power, the little yellow light. There's also on the back, behind the screen, there's a little door here. You can open that and you'll turn it on. Okay, and I'm going to turn it around, and you can see it's already kind of booting up there. Okay, and it automatically goes into standby mode. I think I'm going to move it a little closer and see if we can see. Go toggle up a little bit. Okay, so right now it says, do you want to start a pre-use check? The only ventilator that we could do a check would be the PB980. These other ones here, there's just some parts of them, like this one here, the O2 sensor, which is inside here, is not functional, so that one will alarm all the time, so it will fail the system test, so we're not going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to click, do you Do you want to start pre-use check? I'm going to say no. And the screens are a little touchy. You might, there you go. Said no. Do you want to delete patient data, trends, and event log? Yes, we do. So we'll do that. So right now it's basically ready to start ventilation. I don't want you to start ventilation. I want you to look at the screen and see what's going on. There are a couple places where you can input physician orders. One is right on the bottom here. It gives you some real basic numbers here. You have oxygen concentration, you have PEEP, which is positive end expiratory pressure. You have a respiratory rate, and you have tidal volume, okay? Right now, if we look up on top, it is set up to be volume control. So we're going to be delivering a set volume over 15 minutes per minute. Sorry, yeah, 15 breaths per minute, okay? So I'm going to go into volume control. You can tap up there, and it'll basically show everything that was down here on the bottom will show up right in here. It will show you your tidal volume, how much we want to give the patient, and that we're going to get with ideal body weight, and we'll talk all about that. Respiratory rate, your PEEP, your oxygen concentration, and then there's some things here that we can adjust, and we'll learn about them. The I time, how quick, how long we want the inspiratory phase to take. Right now it's set to 0.9 seconds. There's a T-pause, which we want to always remove the T-pause. This is a pause at the end of an inspiration. This machine will automatically default to a 0.4 second pause, so it'll hold the breath there for almost half a second. We're going to turn that off. We're going to tap that with this dial over here. We're going to turn it down to 0, and then we can press the button here to accept that value. T, inspiratory rise, that's how quickly we're going to get that tidal volume of 500 into the patient, okay? And then there's also another thing up here called trigger. As you will learn, trigger is what starts inspiration. And it's a sensitivity setting. So in other words, if the patient wants to trigger a breath or start inspiration, they have to generate -3 liters per minute flow. That's the way it's set up to get a breath from the machine. We're going to change that. We could change that from flow. If I go down all the way to 0, it changes to pressure. And now we can set it to a negative pressure, so they will have to generate -2 centimeters of water pressure to trigger a breath from the machine. So those are settings that you can adjust. When we're done doing that, you can click on accept. Okay. There is a place where you can monitor everything that will be done once the patient's connected. Let's see if we can see that here. We go to additional values. Okay, probably will not show, mainly because we are not connected to the patient. And it looks like it won't until we actually start ventilation. And there's a screen on the right hand side, and also up on top it'll tell you how much tidal volume is being returned from the patient and all that information, okay? So that's basically what you're going to do with your first lab on all 4 ventilators, okay? So now I'm done with this. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and I can go to the back and turn that little button off. Okay, then I'm going to disconnect the gas source. Remember, always disconnect the gas source when you are done on these ventilators. We here at Pima, we have oxygen piped in from H tanks down in the dental lab, and if you keep these the gas plugged in, it will be used. It is constantly the ventilator's constantly pulling gas from the wall, and it will deplete the oxygen. Always disconnect that. And so I'm going to disconnect the vent circuit, take the bacteria filter out, and when you're done with that, I'm going to put this back in the bag. Okay? So that's your first lab. You're going to be doing that on all 3 ventilators at least one time. Okay?